It was a sweltering summer night in London in 2008. The Roundhouse was packed with over 3,000 people eager to see Amy Winehouse perform her most iconic songs. The artist, known for her unique voice and intense personality, was backstage adjusting her famous beehive hairstyle when something unusual happened. Sarah, a 19-year-old who had traveled from Manchester especially for the show, began feeling ill in the front row. What appeared to be just the excessive heat of the crowd quickly turned into something much more serious. The girl, who suffered from type 1 diabetes, was having a severe hypoglycemic crisis and began fainting repeatedly. Security tried to remove her from the venue, but she begged to stay, saying she had saved for months to be there. It was then that Amy, still backstage, heard the commotion through the audio monitors. Without hesitation, she abandoned her final preparations and decided to take an action no one expected. The singer's reaction to this emergency would reveal a side of her that few knew. Her genuine humanity and generous heart, characteristics often overshadowed by sensationalist headlines. This would be just the beginning of an unforgettable night that would forever change Sarah's life and show the world the true character of Amy Winehouse. Amy Winehouse stopped mid-preparation when Blake, her manager, told her about the situation in the audience. "Amy, there's a girl feeling sick up front. Security wants to remove her, but she's begging to stay. They say she's been saving up for months for this show," he explained, expecting the singer to simply nod in approval so they could follow standard protocol. But Amy was no ordinary performer. She put down the microphone and said something that left her entire team speechless. "No, the show won't start until I'm sure she's okay. I want to speak to her in person." The team tried to dissuade her, arguing about the security risks and the tight schedule, but Amy had already made up her mind. With determined strides, she walked out from backstage and into the audience, causing an instant uproar among the fans who recognized her. The audience began chanting her name, but Amy had only one goal in mind. She found Sarah being held by two security guards, pale and trembling. "Hi, honey, I'm Amy. Tell me what's going on," she said, kneeling beside the young fan. Sarah could hardly believe what she was seeing. Her idol was there, by her side, genuinely concerned for her well-being. Tears began to stream down the girl's face, a mixture of emotion, pain, and disbelief at the surreal situation she was experiencing. Sarah could barely speak, but between sobs and shakes, she managed to explain her condition to Amy. I have diabetes. I forgot to eat before coming, and I think my blood sugar is really low, but I can't leave, Amy. This show, it's everything to me. Your music saved me when I was in a deep depression last year." Amy felt her heart sink at these words. She herself had battled her inner demons and knew exactly the transformative power music could have on someone's life. "Look at me, Sarah," Amy said, gently cupping the girl's face. "You're more important than any show. Music only makes sense if the people who love it are okay to hear it." Without hesitation, Amy turned to her team and gave an order no one expected. "Stop everything. Let's take care of Sarah first. Blake, call an ambulance now. And you," she said, pointing to one of the security guards, "go to the nearest cafeteria and get her something sweet to eat. Quick!" The Roundhouse, which moments before had been buzzing with energy and anticipation, was now completely silent. The 3,000 fans in attendance watched in amazement as the scene unfolded from the front. Many couldn't even see clearly what was happening. But word spread quickly. Amy Winehouse had stopped the show because a fan was feeling unwell. The audience's reaction would be something no one would ever forget while waiting for the ambulance to arrive. Amy did something that left everyone speechless. She grabbed the main stage microphone and addressed the audience. "Everyone, I want you to meet Sarah. She's up here and she's not feeling well. But you know what? She told me my songs helped her through a really difficult time in her life. And It reminds me why I make music. The crowd fell silent, hanging on the singer's every word. Sarah, darling, this song is for you, Amy announced, and began singing an intimate acoustic version of Stronger Than Me right there in the middle of the audience, without amplification, just her powerful voice echoing through the venue. The moment was magical and chilling. 3,000 people watched in complete silence as Amy Winehouse sang personally to a fan who was feeling ill. Sarah, even weakened, managed to smile and even whisper a few words of the song. Cell phones began to rise throughout the audience, capturing that unique and extraordinary moment. What should have been just an ordinary concert turned into something much more profound, an act of pure humanity that would be remembered forever. When Amy finished singing, the audience erupted in emotional applause. Many people were in tears, touched by the artist's sensitivity and generosity. In that moment, Amy Winehouse wasn't just a stage star. She was a person genuinely concerned for another person, and that touched the hearts of everyone present. The ambulance arrived within minutes, but Amy refused to leave Sarah's side until she was absolutely certain she was out of danger. "Don't worry about the show," she said, holding Sarah's hand as the paramedics checked her vital signs. "The important thing is that you're okay. We play shows every week, but people like you are unique." The paramedics confirmed that Sarah was having a severe hypoglycemic episode and would need to be taken to the hospital for stabilization. When Sarah learned she would have to leave, she began to cry uncontrollably. "Amy, I can't believe I ruined your show. All these people came here to see you and I..." But Amy cut her off immediately. "You didn't ruin anything, honey. You gave me the opportunity to be human in a world where we sometimes forget that." Then Amy did something even more surprising. She asked Blake to cancel the evening show. "I can't go on stage knowing Sarah is alone in the hospital. Let's reschedule." The team panicked. Canceling a show was a decision that would involve massive losses, refunds, and complex logistics. But Amy was adamant. "Some moments in life are more important than money or schedules," she declared firmly, and this is one of them. Amy's decision not only demonstrated her genuine personality, but also set a rare precedent in the music industry, putting human well-being above business. "Amy, you can't cancel the entire show," pleaded Blake, her manager, visibly nervous about the financial implications of the decision. "Think of what this will cost, of the fans who came from far away." But Amy had already made up her mind. "Blake, these fans will understand, and if they don't, then they're not true fans of mine. I'm going with Sarah to the hospital, and I'll stay there until I'm sure she's okay." What happened next was something no one at the Roundhouse had ever witnessed. Amy took the microphone again and made an announcement that would shock everyone. "Guys, I know you came here expecting an amazing show, and I really wanted to give it to you. But sometimes life presents us with situations." Amy accompanied Sarah in the ambulance, holding her hand the entire ride to the nearest hospital. "I never thought my idol would be here with me in an ambulance," Sarah said, still in disbelief. Amy laughed, that characteristic, infectious laugh. Her fans knew well. "Life is full of surprises, isn't it, dear? Besides, I've been in a few ambulances in my life, so I can assure you you're in good company." During the ride, the two talked about music, life, the challenges of dealing with health issues, and how art can be a form of healing. Amy discovered that Sarah was a music student and dreamed of being a singer. "Do you sing?" Amy asked. Sarah, still shy despite everything, hummed a few notes of Rehab. Amy was impressed by the quality of the girl's voice. "You have real talent, Sarah. Promise you'll keep singing?" At the hospital, Amy refused to leave until the doctors confirmed that Sarah was fully stabilized. She remained in the waiting room for over 3 hours, talking to Sarah's family, who had arrived from Manchester after receiving the call about the incident. Sarah's mother couldn't stop crying and thanking Amy for her kindness and care for her daughter. "You saved my daughter today," she said emotionally. Amy replied, "Sarah saved herself. I was just in the right place at the right time." While Amy was in the hospital with Sarah, videos of what had happened at the Roundhouse began to spread like wildfire across the internet. Cell phones that had captured the intimate moment of Amy singing to Sarah in the audience were posted on YouTube, Facebook and Twitter, racking up millions of views within hours. Amy Winehouse Angel became a global trending topic. Emotional comments from fans around the world began flooding social media. "This is why we love Amy," wrote one fan from Brazil. "She showed she's human above all else," posted another from Australia. Music journalists who had often criticized Amy for her personal struggles now wrote articles praising her humanity and generosity. The Guardian published an article titled, "Amy Winehouse Reminds Us Why Music Exists, to Connect People." Rolling Stone ran a special report on the most human moment in contemporary music. Even celebrities unconnected to music began sharing the story. Actors, politicians, and activists used the story to talk about empathy, kindness, and the importance of putting people before business. The video of Amy singing to Sarah went viral, not only among music fans, but also among anyone who believed in the power of human kindness. Sarah, still recovering in the hospital, began receiving messages of support from people around the world who had been touched by the story. Her inbox was bursting with loving messages from strangers wanting to know how she was doing. 3 days after the incident, Sarah was discharged from the hospital, fully recovered. But she was no longer the same person. The experience of having her idol cancel an entire concert to care for her had profoundly transformed her outlook on life. "Amy taught me that real kindness isn't something you do when it's convenient," Sarah said in an interview with a local TV station. "It's something you do when it costs you something." Inspired by Amy's gesture, Sarah decided to use her experience to help others. She began visiting local hospitals, singing for patients going through difficult times. "If Amy's songs helped me when I was depressed, and if my story can inspire others, then I need to share that," she explained. Sarah also became an active advocate for diabetes awareness, speaking at schools about the importance of taking care of one's health and always being prepared for medical emergencies. Her story with Amy became the centerpiece of her lectures, showing how an act of kindness can transform not only a person's life, but also inspire a wave of solidarity. Months later, Sarah recorded an independent EP dedicated to Amy, featuring a special song called "Angel in the Crowd," telling the full story of that unforgettable night. Proceeds from the EP's sales were donated to organizations that help people with diabetes and mental health issues. The young woman, who was once just a fan in the audience, had now become a source of inspiration for others, multiplying the kindness Amy had instilled in her life. Amy Winehouse passed away 3 years after that memorable concert, but the story of her kindness to Sarah lives on, inspiring people around the world. At the singer's funeral, Sarah was among those present, carrying a white rose and a letter she would never have the chance to deliver in person. In the letter, she thanked Amy not only for saving her life that night, but for completely changing her way of seeing the world. "You taught me that being famous doesn't mean being distant from people. You showed me that great artists are, above all, great human beings," Sarah wrote in the letter. Today, more than a decade after that night at the Roundhouse, the story continues to be told as a perfect example of how empathy can transform lives. Documentaries about Amy Winehouse always include this episode as one of the most revealing moments of who she truly was, beyond her fame and personal struggles. Sarah, now an established singer, always dedicates a song to Amy Winehouse at her concerts. She created a foundation called Angel in the Crowd, which helps young artists going through personal or health difficulties. Amy taught me that music, without humanity, is just noise, says Sarah, and that sometimes stopping to help one person can be more important than any stage performance. The foundation has already helped hundreds of young musicians, offering not only financial support, but also medical and psychological support. The legacy of that special night continues to multiply, proving that a single act of kindness can create ripples of transformation that span generations. Amy Winehouse may have left us too soon, but the lesson she taught us on that summer night in London lives on. That an artist's true greatness lies not only in their talent, but in their ability to be human when it matters most.